comfort. I love to know that I have everything I need at any moment of time. And that's why in my bag, actually in my every bag that I use, I always have tissues, wet wipes, and a comb. Convenience. To know that everything I need is at the place where I can find it easily, that makes me feel so reassured and so easy. So that's why I always organize my workspace and my living space in the way that I can find anything I need at any moment of time, even if I'm sleeping, even if it's dark, even if something extreme happens, I always know where everything is. Freedom. To know that I can do whatever I want to do at any moment of time and I don't depend on any means of transport, at least, or any other people, that is the freedom for me. And that brings us to the topic of today, which is, do you need a bike when you live in Thailand? Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sandra and I'm an English teacher in Thailand. And if you're interested in the life in Thailand as an expat or a teaching experience in Thailand, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications. Let's go. So this video is not for people who live in Bangkok. Why? Because in Bangkok, you have trains. And this makes your life a lot easier to move around the city. And I'm going to talk about my experience in Thailand, living in Thailand and moving around Thailand, using whatever else is there except for the metros. Yes, I did say metros. It might be grammatically incorrect, but in reality in Bangkok there are actually two train lines. One is called Sky Train and another one is just Metro, if I'm not mistaken, which I might be. But if you're interested to get to know about Bangkok and the train system a little more, well, let me know in the comments down below. Today I'm going to tell you about my experience in living in the suburbs of Bangkok, and the choices that you have there are very simple. You can walk, you can use Grab, or you can use a bike. Option 1, walking. Well, I think I made myself pretty clear in the video about what makes my life uncomfortable in Thailand, that walking is not really a good option here. Because even though right now, at the end of the year in November, it kind of gets cooler. But when I say cooler, if you look at the weather application and you check the temperature, it actually is about 32 degrees. That's cooler here in Thailand. So walking is not the best option. Even if it's the morning time, which is way cooler, 29 degrees, add humidity and you're still fully sweaty when you reach the workplace if you're working from home. Well, what's the other option? Let's talk about option 2. Option 2 is to use Grab, which is basically the Uber or taxi services in here. It's very easy. You download an app, you provide the payment method, and then you can use two options inside the service, which is the car or the bike. It's very easy to get a car. It's also very easy to get a bike. It's completely your personal choice. I do use both. If I don't have luggage, if I go somewhere with like a backpack or a light bag, then I use the bike service. If I do have a bag, then I use the car because I don't feel convenient and comfortable enough to put my luggage onto the back of the bike. I like comfort and I like convenience. The only thing, you use these services when you go to work. Everybody goes to work at the same time here, which means there's not enough vehicles for you at that time. If that's the case, because some of my colleagues, they said they had to wait for about 35 to 40 minutes for their ride to come and pick them up. Well, I don't think it's very comfortable, right? It's actually a lot of stress before your work day. And if you have to go through this stress every single day, it's not worth it unless, and this is another choice. So I was told you can actually make connections to some of the bike taxi drivers and you can inform them that you would need their services every single day, Monday to Friday at a specific time. Then if you have that agreement, you're covered. So you don't really need to worry about it. That might make your life a lot more convenient. But if you don't have this agreement and you don't find the bike driver who actually can speak English or can understand what you need well enough, you have to give in to the chance Yeah, whether you're going to get the ride or you're not going to get the ride. And every day it's going to be a lot of stress additional to what you experience at work and in your life anyway. So do you need it? Do you not need it? It's completely up to you. And if it's something that you want to avoid, if you love the comfort and convenience the same way as I do, I would suggest option 3, which is a bike of your own. And again, even within this option, there are a couple of choices. Option 1 within those choices is to buy a bike, and option 2 is to rent a bike. So let me expand on renting first. So as I said, I came to the country with the help of the agency, actually 3 agencies, and with my last agency, they were the people who literally did all the communication for me with everybody around me. And if I needed anything, any kind of service, they were the ones who either gave me suggestion or literally put me through to people. So the first time I said, you know what, I think probably I would need a bike to rent. They said, okay, we have a person we can put you through. Literally, in a couple of days, I was already riding my bike. And that's the brilliance of having somebody to provide you with those services. And that's why, again, I'm referring back to what I said in the video. I do love that I have the agency backing me up in many ways, including this one. So if I needed something, I didn't need to stress, where will I find the bike to rent? How are we going to make the contract? How are we going to make the agreement? Or how am I going to pay? All of that was covered by the agency. All I needed to do is just literally pick up the bike, then get the bank details of the person I would be sending the money to, and just send the money on time and send them the picture of the bank transfer. That's it. So this is as easy as it is if you have somebody helping you out like agency. If not, well then, unfortunately, I'm not the person to help you with that. I don't really know where you can rent a bike, but what I know, there are tons of shops where you can buy a bike. I was actually thinking about buying a bike. Why didn't I? Because I wasn't sure for how long I was about to stay in the country, because it's an investment and it makes sense to think about these things in advance. And at the same time, buying a bike the moment you come into the country is not really possible because you don't have all necessary documents to basically make a purchase on your name. Be on the safe side. Rent a bike first until you get the work permit, you get the legal documents of you staying in the country. And if you have enough money and you're going to stay in the country for at least 2-3 years and you know that, well then that's a good investment. Buy yourself a bike. The price ranges are, I would say, very different. It starts from as low as 35,000 baht for a used bike, and it can end up within 80 to 100,000 baht. It depends on the bike that you're choosing. Like the bike that I was actually checking out was a Honda, I guess. Yes, I liked Scoopy, especially the new model. It's really, really nice. So when I was checking it out, it was approximately 65 to 70,000 baht. And again, it depends where you're checking, because again, if you're checking in a big city like Bangkok, it's going to be way more expensive. I told you about the tourist-oriented attitude. If you're checking it in a smaller town like the one that I came to last year, that was approximately 65 to 70,000 baht. So again, it depends, but it's going to be a good investment. If you're going to stay here for like a year, it doesn't make any sense. It's just not worth it. So I would suggest to rent a bike. On average, it's going to be within 1,500 to 2,000 baht a month, which is pretty good. And then you have your freedom in moving around the place, the town, not depending on a pickup ride, not depending on some other factors. You're ready to go to work. You get on your bike, you put the helmet on, and you go to work. I bet you have a question in your head. Sandra, is it that easy to drive a bike in Thailand? Well, no. In one of my previous videos, I actually mentioned that I have a long and very painful history with bikes, which started early in 2017, 2018. My first time with the bike was in the Philippines, and I fell, and I have scars still until today. The second time I actually gathered the courage was here in Thailand. So I actually faced that choice whether to walk to work, which was like 3 kilometers every day. It's nothing for me, like honestly. 3 kilometers of walking for me is like a very, very easy walk. The problem is I would feel uncomfortable all day after all that walking because I would be sweaty. So I didn't want to have that. And I was actually considering buying a bike, but I was so afraid because I fell off the bike before and it was really bad. So in one of these school breaks, I went to see my friend in Koh Samui and I asked him to teach me how to drive a bike. And he offered me very generously to drive his bike. Literally within a minute time, I had another fall. So I was really, really scared. But at the same time, well, there is a time in your life when you realize if you need something, you will need to overcome your fears. And it is not impossible. Nothing is impossible. And I knew that. But one thing is to know something, and another thing is to actually do something about it. And that's where I decided to do something about it. So, yes, I decided not to endanger my friend's bike anymore. So, I did rent a bike, a scooter, and slowly but surely, I started driving. I'm telling you, very slowly, very cautiously. I am a driver. I've had approximately 5 to 6 years of driving experience, car driving experience in the UAE. So I knew how to handle myself on the road. The problem was I didn't know how to handle myself on the bike. The bike was really heavy for me and it was a two-wheel vehicle, which again is something different from the car. And it's actually very different from the bicycle itself. Bicycle is very light, the bike is heavy. So I faced that challenge. I can say that it took me 2 weeks of driving every single day back and forth until I started feeling a little bit more at ease. So if you are considering, if you are having this choice to make, I can say that make the choice. Have the time. Give yourself that time. If you don't live in Bangkok, don't do it in Bangkok. Honestly, the traffic there is crazy. Anywhere in Bangkok, it's not possible. I was lucky enough because I started driving a bike here in Thailand in a very small town which had minimum traffic. That allowed me to gain my confidence and that allowed me to gain enough experience then to branch out and go somewhere. So in the end, last year, in the end of the year, I actually went all the way from the place I stayed to Hua Hin, which took approximately 3.5 hours by bike. And I am very proud of myself because it happened only 3 months after I started driving a bike. So I am telling you this because it's very much possible. If you are considering and you are scared, I completely understand. I am with you. I am still scared sometimes. It just takes time. Give yourself time, believe in yourself, believe that you can do it. And I assure you, you can. There is nothing you cannot do because I did it. And I was the most scared person on the planet to actually get on the bike after 2 falls and scars that I still have on my legs and my hands. That was a little heavy, was it? Anyway, if you are driving a bike, remember a couple of things. One, as a foreigner, you're always on the radar, so wear the helmet at all times. Number two, Thailand is the left side traffic country. If you're coming from the place like I am, all my life I was walking and driving on the right side of the road. That would take some time to get adjusted, especially if you're driving the car here. That will need some time. And three, Thailand has 2 seasons, which is the dry season and the rainy season. And for the rainy season, make sure you always have a raincoat somewhere with you. There is a compartment in the bike where you can store some things, and the raincoat doesn't take much space, so store it there because the rain can start very suddenly, very abruptly, and if you don't have anything to cover, you will feel really, really uncomfortable, and that's not what I like. Conclusion. Is it worth it? Absolutely. So in my experience, I am really proud of myself. I overcame one of my biggest fears in life. I gained a new skill and I started even enjoying the process of driving a bike. And also I'm enjoying the freedom that it gives me. So if you are having this choice right now, maybe these information would be useful. And if you want to know more about life in Thailand and something specific that you want to learn about it, you can put your question down in the comments below. I'll check it out and I'll find out for you. But for today, this is it. I hope you had a bit of fun, and I'll see you in my next video.